Definition of elevator are generally used in buildings where several peak periods of traffic occur each day. An example, office buildings, hospitals, and apartment buildings.
So hi there, since we're all done defining what an electric elevator is, basically we experienced riding one before the COVID started in our daily living like in schools and malls and commercial buildings and whatnot. But then having said, we don't have prior deeper knowledge to how the system works and the name of its parts. So basically an elevator has actually lots of parts, not only one, not only two, but many. And these are
For the parts of an electric elevator, we've got the shaft, car, cables, counterweights, guide rails, machine room, elevator machine, controls, and safety devices. For the safety devices, it has four major parts, namely main brake, safety switch, electric final limit switches, and O or spring buffers.
Methods of arranging elevator machines, sheaves, and ropes. Single wrap traction machine. Sporting cables pass over the sheave in grooves and connect to the counterweights. The lifting power is exerted by the sheave through the traction of the cables in the grooves. 1-to-1 double wrap traction machine. Cables first wrap over the traction sheave T, then around the secondary or idler sheave S, and once more going around T and S to the counterweights. This provides greater traction and is used in many automatic, high-speed installations. 2-to-1 double wrap traction machine for freight elevators. This 2:1 roping has a mechanical advantage of 2, which results in a high-speed, low-power, and therefore low-cost traction machine. Underslung system is used where the elevator machine is located at the basement.
Gearless traction machine consists of a DC motor, the shaft of which is directly connected to the brake wheel and the driving sheave. The elevator cables are placed around the sheave. This type of machine is used for medium and high-speed elevators for office and residential condominiums of 10 stories or more, where high speeds and smooth quality operations are desired. Geared traction machine. This type of machine employs a worm and gear between the driving motor and the sheave. It is considered to be less superior to the gearless traction machine since it has more moving parts and requires more maintenance. Used for low and medium speed passenger and freight elevators.
What is elevator control system? Elevator control system is a system to control the elevators, either manual or automatic. There are three main types for elevator control system. The first one is a single automatic push button control, or also known as single automatic operation. This is the simplest of passenger operated automatic control system. It handles only one call at a time, providing an uninterrupted trip for each call. It is a task-oriented system that has a momentary push button contact. You will push the button once, the elevator will go to the floor requested, and then wait for its next command. This type of control is most frequently used for vertical reciprocating conveyor applications. The second control system is the collective control, or also known as selective collective control. It is the most common control system. It is arranged to collect all waiting up calls on the trip up and all waiting down calls on the trip down. The control system stalls all calls until they are answered and automatically reverses the direction of travel at the highest and the lowest call. It remembers and answers calls in one direction, then reverses. When all calls have been cleared, the car will remain at the floor of its last stop awaiting the next call. Example, you want to go to the second floor but someone else wants to go to the fifth floor. So that passenger presses the number 5 button and you press the number 2 button. The elevator then starts going up. The elevator stops at the second floor and you exit the elevator, then the elevator proceeds to the fifth floor. This type of operation is called collective control. The elevator at Saya building is one of the example of collective control system. The third type is electronic group supervisory dispatching and control. This system is used to control not only single elevators but an entire group or bank of cars. During peak periods, all cars are in operation. Automatically, the system shuts down successively cars as the number of passengers reduces and return them to service as the number of passengers again increases to a high peak. The system of Otis Elevator Company is called Autotronic Elevatoring, while the system of Westinghouse Electric Company is called the Selectomatic Elevator System.
And the other type of an elevator is what we called the oil hydraulic elevator, and it has 7 major parts, and these are
Machine room, a room housing the hoisting machinery, control equipment, and sheaves for raising and lowering an elevator car. Car frame, the structural steel frame of an elevator car to which are attached to the platform, guide shoes, elevator car safety, hoisting cables, and control equipment. Lantern, a light usually over the entrance to an elevator on each floor of a multi-story building that signals the approach of the elevator. Annunciator, a signaling apparatus in an elevator car or at a landing that displays a visual indication of low landings. Call button, a pause button for requesting an elevator. Door interlock, a safety device for preventing the operation of an elevator car unless the hoistway door is locked in a closed position. Door contact, a safety device for preventing the operation of an elevator car unless its door or gate is fully closed.
The oil hydraulic elevators, or it is also called as a plunger elevators. It is raised by the means of movable rod nor plunger rigidly fixed to the bottom of the car. The system is hydraulic and operates the same way as a hydraulic automobile jack. Oil from the reservoir is pumped under the plunger, thereby raising it in the car. The pump is stopped during the downward motion, the car being lowered by the gravity and controlled by the action of bypass valves, which also controls the positioning of the car during the upward motion. The absence of the cables, drums, MJ set, and the penthouse equipment make this system inexpensive, and often the choice of low-speed, low-rise application, where construction of the plunger pit does not present difficulties and where the absence of the penthouse is desirable.
Dumbwaiter. It is typically a lift or an elevator intended for food. It is a movable frame in a shaft, dropped by a rope on a pulley, guided by rails. Most dumbwaiters have a shaft, cart, and a capacity smaller than those of passenger elevators, usually around 45 to 450 kilograms.
Escalator is used where large numbers of people are scattered throughout a given area and on a large number of floors. These people being interested in moving about almost constantly to various locations for short periods of time. Thus, traffic is constantly on the move both up and down. Escalators are commonly used in buildings where the movement of large number of people is required, such as shopping centers, department stores, terminal buildings, airports, transit systems, and so on. These are the typical specifications of an escalator. Parts of an escalator installation. Truss, a welded steel frame which supports the moving stairway equipment. It comes in three sections: the upper landing section, the mid section or middle section, and the lower landing section. The middle section may be of any desired length to provide rises of different heights. Tracks are steel angles attached to the truss on which the step rollers are guided, thus controlling the motion of the steps. Sprocket assemblies, chain, and drive machine provide the motive power for the unit. An emergency brake located on the top sprocket will stop a loaded escalator safely in the event of a break in the chain. Controller consists of contractors, relays, and a circuit breaker, usually located near the drive machine. An emergency stop button wired to the controller and placed in or near the escalator will stop the drive machine and apply the brake. Key-operated control switches at the top and the bottom newels will start, stop, and reverse the direction of travel of the stairway. Handrail and balustrade assembly. This is the handrail guide, the rubber-covered handrail, the longitudinal cording, the canvas layers, and the inside balustrade.
Ruling shutter. This shuts off the wellway at a given floor, thus preventing draft and the spread of fire upward through escalator wells. The movement of the shutter is activated by temperature and smoke relays. Spray nozzle curtain are closest space high-velocity water nozzles which will, in case of fire, form a compact water curtain to prevent smoke and flame from rising through the wellways. Automatic thermal or smoke relays open all nozzles simultaneously. Smoke guard consists of fireproof baffles surrounding the wellway, extending downward about 20 inches below ceiling level. Smoke and flames rising upwards meet a curtain of water from sprinkler head surrounding the baffles, which serves as smoke and flame reflector. Vertical shields between adjacent sprinklers ensure that the spray from one will not cool the nearby thermal fuses and prevent the opening of adjacent sprinklers. Sprinkler vent. Wellway floor openings have a duct on each floor equipped with a number of smoke pickup relays. In case of fire, these relays automatically start the fans in the fresh air intake, located on the roof, driving air downward through the wellways. Dangerous gases and smoke are drawn in through the ducts and exhausted at the roof. The usual spray nozzles on the ceiling around the stair will aid in quenching the fire.
Moving sidewalks or electric walks. While escalators are used to transport people vertically, electric walks are used to transport people horizontally at any inclination from 0 degree to 15 degree. You can see this type of transportation system at airport terminals as well as at exhibit halls where management desires that people should move smoothly through or past a particular area without stopping or boarding. These are the typical specification of moving sidewalks or electric walks. There are 4 types of installation of moving sidewalks or electric walks. First is the horizontal or level. Second is the bi-level. Third is the overpass installation. And lastly, underpass installation.
Chutes are in common use in tall buildings to allow the rapid transport of items from the upper floors to a central location on one of the lower floors or basement. Chutes may be round, square or rectangular at the top and or the bottom. Laundry chutes in hotels are placed on each floor to allow the expedient transfer and collection of dirty laundry to the hotel's laundry facility without having to use elevators or stairs. In stories, laundry chutes are commonly used for the protagonist to quickly escape, the laundry at the chute's base often serving to cushion the hero's fall. A mail chute is a largely defunct letter collection device used in early multi-story office buildings, hotels, apartment buildings, and other high-rise structures. Letters were dropped from the upper stories and collected, usually at the ground level, at a central depository by the Postal Service. This innovation was before the time of the modern mailroom normally associated nowadays with high-rise buildings. It was for the convenience of the users of the building so they would not have to take their mail to an outside mailbox or to the post office. Garbage chutes are common in high-rise apartment buildings and are used to collect all the building's garbage in one place. Often the bottom end of the chute is placed directly above a large waste container. This makes garbage collection faster and more efficient. An escape chute is a special kind of emergency exit, used where conventional fire escape stairways are impractical. The chute is a fabric, or occasionally metal, tube installed near a special exit on an upper floor or roof of a building, or a tall structure. During use, the chute is deployed, and may be secured at the bottom by a firefighting crew some distance out from the building. Once the tube is ready, escapees enter the tube and slide down to a lower level or the ground level. Construction chutes are used to remove rubble and similar demolition materials safely from taller buildings. These temporary structures typically consist of a chain of cylindrical or conical plastic tubes, each fitted into the top of the one below and tied together, usually with chains. Together they form a long flexible tube, which is hung down the side of the building. The lower end of this tube is placed over a skip or other receptacle, and waste materials are dropped into the top. Heavy-duty steel chutes may also be used when the debris being deposited is heavy-duty and in cases of particularly high buildings.
Chapter 3.4 Provisions in the National Building Code concerning transportation system. Accidental contact. Any inadvertent physical contact with the power transmission equipment, prime movers, machines, or machine parts which could result from slipping, falling, sliding, tripping, or any other unplanned action or movement. The balustrades. The frame on either side of the moving steps of an escalator. The buffer is a device designed to stop a descending car or a counterweight behind its normal limit of travel by absorbing and dissipating the kinetic energy of the car or the counterweight. The cage or cob, an enclosure for housing the operator and the housing mechanism, power plant, and the equipment controlling a crane. Capacity of works, project, or plant is the total horsepower of all engines, motors, turbines, or other prime mover installed, whether in operation or not. Car is the load-carrying unit of the elevator including its platform, frame, enclosure, and door or gate. Crane means a machine for lifting or lowering a load and moving it horizontally, the hosting mechanism being an integral part of the machine. Waiter is a hosting and lowering mechanism equipped with a car not to exceed 3,861 square meters in area and a maximum height of 1.2 meters, the capacity of which does not exceed 277 kilos, used exclusively for carrying materials. Elevator is a hosting and lowering mechanism equipped with a car or platform which move in guides in a vertical direction, serving two or more floors of a building or structure. Movement of the car may be controlled by gravitational, manual, or mechanical power. Elevator landing. The portion of the floor, balcony, or platform for loading or discharging passenger or freight to or from the elevator. Elevator wire ropes. A steel wire ropes attached to the car frame or passing around a sheave attached to the car frame from which elevator or dumbwaiter cars and their counterweight are suspended. Enclosed means the moving part of the machine are so guarded that the physical contact by any part of the human body is precluded or prevented. This does not, however, prohibit the use of the hinge, sliding, or otherwise removable doors or section to permit inspection, lubrication, or proper maintenance. Escalator, a power-driven inclined continuously stairway for raising or lowering passenger. Guarded means shielded, fenced, or otherwise protected by means of suitable enclosure guards, covers or standard railings so as to preclude the possibility of accidental contact or dangerous approach to person or objects. Hoist is an apparatus for raising or lowering a load by the application of a building force, but does not include a car or platform. It may be base-mounted, hook suspension, monorail, overhead, simple drum type, or trolley suspension. Hoistway is a staffway for the travel of one or more elevators or dumbwaiters. Machine, the driven unit of an equipment. Machine house, an enclosure for housing the hosting mechanism in power plant. Machine parts, any or all moving part of a machine. Moving walk, a type of horizontal passenger carrying device on which passengers stand or walk, with its surface remaining parallel to its direction of motion and is uninterrupted. Power transmission machinery is a staff, wheel, drum, pulley system of fast and loose pulley, coupling, clutch, driving belt, V-belt sheaves and belts, chains, sprockets, gearing, torque connectors, conveyors, hydraulic coupling, magnetic coupling, speed reducer or increaser, or any device by which the motion of the engine is transmitted to or received by another machine. Process machine is an equipment designed and operated for a specific purpose. Traveling cable is a cable made up of electric conductor which provide electrical connection between an elevator or dumbwaiter car and a fixed outlet in the houseway.
Guarding of moving and dangerous parts. All prime movers, machines, and machine parts, power transmission, equipment shall be so guarded, shielded, fenced, or enclosed to protect any person against exposure to or accidental contact with dangerous moving parts. Cranes. Access to the case or machine house shall be by means of conveniently placed stationary ladder, stairs, or platforms requiring a step over that no gap exceeding 300 mm is allowed. Adequate means shall be provided for cranes having revolving cables or machine houses to permit the operator to enter or leave the crane cab and reach the ground safely, irrespective of its position. Cages, cabs, or machine houses on cranes shall be enclosed to protect the operator during inclement weather. A gong or other effective warning device shall be mounted on each cage or cab. Temporary crane operation without warning device may be allowed provided there is a flagman whose sole duty is to warn those in the path of the crane or its load. The maximum rated load of all cranes shall be plainly marked on each side of the crane. If the crane has more than one hoisting unit, each hoist shall have marked on it or its load block its rated capacity clearly legible from the ground or floor.
Number 1. Operating controls shall be plainly marked to indicate the direction of travel. Number 2. Each cage control hoist shall be equipped with an effective warning device. Number 3. Each hoist designed to lift its load vertically shall have its rated load legibly marked on the hoist or load block or at some easily visible space. Number 4. A stop, which shall operate automatically, shall be provided at each switch, dead end rail, or turntable to prevent the trolley running off when the switch is open. Number 5. Each electric hoist motor shall be provided with an electrically or mechanically operated brake so arranged that the brake will be applied automatically when the power is cut off from the hoist.
Elevators. Hoistways for elevators shall be substantially enclosed throughout their height, with no openings allowed except for necessary doors, windows, or skylights. Ropes, wires, or pipes shall not be installed in hoistways, except when necessary for the operation of the elevators. Hoistway pits shall be of such depth that when the car rests on the fully compressed buffers, a clearance of not less than 600 millimeters remains between the underside of the car and the bottom of the pit. When 4 or more elevators serve all or the same portion of a building, they shall be located in not less than 2 hoistways, and in no case shall be more than 4 elevators be located in any one hoistway. Where a machine room or penthouse is provided at the top of a hoistway, it shall be constructed with sufficient room for repair and inspection. Access shall be by means of an iron ladder or stairs when the room is more than 600 mm above the adjacent floor or roof surface. The angle of inclination of such ladder or stairs shall not exceed 600 degrees from the horizontal. This room shall not be used as living quarters or depository of their materials, and shall be provided with adequate ventilation. Minimum number of hoisting ropes shall be 3 for traction elevators and 2 for drum. The minimum diameter of hoisting and counterweight ropes shall be 30 mm. Elevators shall be provided with overload relay and reverse polarity relay. In high-rise apartments or residential condominiums of more than 5 stories, at least one passenger elevator shall be kept on 24 hours constant service.
Number 1. The angle of inclination of escalator shall not exceed 35 degrees from the horizontal. Number 2. The width between balustrades shall not be less than 558 mm nor more than 1.2 meter. The width shall not exceed the width of the steps by more than 330 mm. Number 3. The solid balustrade of incombustible material shall be provided on each side of the moving steps. If made of glass, it shall be of tempered type glass. Number 4. Each balustrade shall be provided with a handrail moving in the same direction and at the same speed as the steps. Number 5. The rated speed measured along the angle of inclination shall be not more than 38 meter per minute. Number 6. Starting switches shall be key operated and located within sight of the escalator step. Number 7. Emergency bottoms shall be conspicuously and accessibly located at or near the top and bottom landing but protected from the accidental contact.